you never thought that robots can feel unwanted, unloved, depressed and suicidal, now's the time to watch Archive. Let's talk about it. Okay, so I recently just finished watching this film called Archive, which for a lot of people will probably pass you by. It stars Theo James from the Divergent movies and also Stacey Martin, who I'm not really familiar with. Maybe a lot of people aren't as well. Now this, I believe, is probably a first-time directorial film from Gavin Rothery. He's done one kind of short film in 2014, but on the most part he's been involved in like the art departments and effects and things like that. And if this is truly a first-time directorial film, then he's done really well. So let me just quickly read a little synopsis on the back here, and then I'll go into the story a bit more. So it's 2049, a roboticist, George Elmore, played by Theo James, is on the verge of a breakthrough. Stationed at a remote secret facility, he has been working on a model that is a true human equivalent android. His latest prototype, J3, is almost complete. So yeah, this is the story of this character, George, who's stationed at this very futuristic looking Tracy Island scientific laboratory out in the snowy wilderness in Japan. He's all there alone, apart from two other robots. And because of a tragedy that happened in his past, he's trying to incorporate the brain waves and memories from his wife that are stored in this computer system and inject all these memories, brain waves and everything into a perfect android replica. Now, the first two attempts that they call J1, so J Prototype 1. J Prototype 1 is kind of a cross between the Gonk droid from Star Wars and a cash point machine. J2 is a little bit more sophisticated, has a few more feelings, reminds me of that Japanese robot that they really did develop that walks up and down stairs. It has that similar kind of look. As those two are early prototypes, George is now working on J3, which is going to have a much more humanoid look to it. Reminds me of Ex Machina and a bit of C3PO and maybe a bit of the robot from Metropolis, as you can see there. Also kind of reminds me of Bicentennial Man that had Robin Williams in, kind of that similar look. Now, as George is nearing the final stages of the construction of this new android, we get a bit of resentment from the other robots, mainly J2, because all of George's attention is now on the J3 robot. J2 feels unloved, unappreciated, depressed, suicidal, and it kind of mimics a lot of things in life. Something new comes along, you discard the old. Now, George works for this massive conglomerate organisation called the Archive Systems Corporation, who own all the facility. It's a dated facility, but George has brought it back to life in order to actually build this robot. We get reminded throughout the film of the tragedy that George had with his wife. They show flashbacks all the way through the film. They give us a connection with him and his wife and everything that happened, and to show us how much he loved her and how much he really missed her. And it is a visually stunning film. The look of it, it has a mixture. We have the inside scenes inside this big scientific outpost. The corridors remind me of being on something like the USS Sulaco, so it looks like it's actually a spaceship. It's not, don't worry. It's not a spoiler, but it looks very spaceshipy inside, very high tech. We also have some very Terminator style machinery that's owned by this big archive corporation. The film has a runtime of 109 minutes, but the film also stars Toby Jones and Rona Mitra as well. Now, when George does eventually leave this outpost to go to the mainland, it has a very Blade Runner feel to it. It looks very original Blade Runner, and that's one of the things about being set in 2049. They always give us a very futuristic look of what it's going to look like in 20, 30, 40 years time. It didn't really work with Back to the Future. A lot of films, you know, they show you what we're going to be living in 20 years time, and when we get to 20 years time, it's exactly the same as it was back then. So the look of it is great. The cinematography is fantastic, very futuristic, considering this is a low budget movie. The music is really good, really fitting music, sweeping music. The visual effects are really top notch, and it's a beautifully crafted vision of what a possible future may be when it comes to robotics and where we may be going. So yeah, I was really impressed being a low budget film, because normally we just pick something like this, it's a one-time watch, and then it ends up in a charity shop or in CEX. But it's definitely on the sophisticated side as well. So it's an intelligent robotic sci-fi tale. And I've got to say, when it comes to the last 15 minutes of the film, they set up a climax that I never saw coming, and was beautifully told, and was not what I was expecting. So I was pleasantly surprised with the ending as well. So yes, there we go. That is Archive. As I say, it's a beautifully crafted sci-fi tale that looks great, sounds great. Storytelling is brilliant. The acting is top notch. Theo James is great. Stacey Martin is fantastic throughout the film. The direction is brilliant. Cinematography is incredible. Even on the outside scenes, it's just a beautiful film to look at. But it also does have a bit of a bleakness to it as well. So that is my review of Archive. How will I rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm going to give it a really strong 7.5 out of 10. I was going to give it a 7, but I gave it an extra half for the last 15 minutes because it seriously deserved that last 15 minutes. So yes, that is my review of Archive. So I hope you enjoyed the review. Like it by giving it some thumbs up. Blah, 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 blah. Don't forget to subscribe, comment and share. Stick down in the comments, have you seen Archive? Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? And it comes to show that not every low budget movie is a piece of crap. Sometimes they can really surprise you. Till the next review, bye!